بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. اللهم نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع من نفس لا تشبع من دعوة لا يستجاب لها. أما بعد، فالسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله وبياكم. This is our 12th lesson, reading the second introduction of Ibn Juzay's tafsir, as it is a introduction for the Ghareeb al-Qur'an, the vocabulary of the Quran. If you want to loosely translate it like that, we are still in the harf, the letter of Kaaf. قال المؤلف رحمه الله, may Allah have mercy on the Alif, he said, 277, that's where we're starting. كيد وهو من المخلوق احتيال. احتيال. Kaid, when it comes from the creation, used by the creation, is a plot. It's a plot. In Kaid, normally, in most cases, most cases, a Kaid is a plot and it has a negative connotation to it. Has a negative connotation to it. وهو the author he says وهو من الله مشيئة أمر ينزل بالعبد من حيث لا يشعر. Now when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala plots, or he used the word kaid, now, right? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending a plot back to the people who already had plotted. This is from amongst the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that some of the people in knowledge, they call them sifatul muqabala. And there's 5 sifats in the Quran like this, such as al-kaid, plotting, al-makr, right? Al-istihza, right? Al-sukhriya, mockery, what? Al-mukhada'a, trickery. All of these things, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it, it's yani sifatul al-madh, all praiseworthy qualities. All praiseworthy qualities. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses it, it's always attributes of perfection, not deficiencies. Is that clear? So the madhab of the Salaf, the way of the Salaf, the methodology of the Salaf, when they heard these different attributes, such as kaid, al-makr, al-istihza, al-sukhriya, al-mukhada'a, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they always affirmed them. They always affirm these attributes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a manner befitting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's majesty. However, they never extracted a name for Allah for them. So we don't call Allah al-Ka'id, right? Or we don't call him al-Makir. Or we don't call him al-Mustahzi. Or we don't call him al-Sakhir, right? Or we don't call him al-Mukhadi'. None of these names are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also, we do not attribute these attributes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I just mentioned, okay, without it being coupled with them doing the action. You understand? For example, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُمْ, right? They try to plot and trick on Allah, okay, deceive Allah, وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُمْ. He's doing it to them. You understand? Is that clear? Nah. So that's I hope no one misunderstand me with that. Anyone who has read the issue on those type of sifats, they'll understand what I mentioned. But yeah, I'm sorry, I just closed my book. Author, he says, okay, this next word is kisefun. Sorry, kisefen. Put a scene on it on the scene. I'm sorry, what did I say? Put a fetha on the scene. كيسفا بفتح السين كيسفا جمع كسفة جمع كسفة وهي القطعة من الشيء قطعة من الشيء قاف كسرة. Okay, كسفا is the plural of kisfa, and it's like broken particles, okay, ripped up pieces, okay, pieces of something. That's what it means, pieces of something. Okay, and would be sukuni, meaning, he says, will be sukuni, meaning that the scene is also recited with a sukun. So it's 2 ways to recite this in the qira'ats. fath on the scene, as well as a sukoon on the scene. That's what he means by it will be sukoon. فهمت? And كذلك أو مفرد, meaning that when it's kisfan with a sukoon on it, كذلك, meaning it's also a plural, can also be used as plural. Or mufrad, or it can be considered as a singular version of the word. So kisafan with a fath on the scene, that's plural for kisfan. Kisfan with a sukoon can either be taken as plural or mufrads or singular. Clear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this in, for example, in Surah Al-Shu'ara, right? Ayat 187, فَأَسْقِطْ عَلَيْنَا كِسَفًا, right? So drop down pieces of the sky from us, on us. فَأَسْقِطْ عَلَيْنَا كِسَفًا. So drop pieces of the sky down on us. You know what I'm saying? 279. Kubiti, I'm sorry, can't read the thing. Kubitu. Kubitu a uhliku. To be destroyed. To be destroyed. He says, وَيَكْبِتَهُمْ, Surah Ali Imran, بِمَعْنَى يُهْلِكَهُمْ, he destroys them. He destroys them. Oh, yani يُخْزِيَهُمْ, he humiliates them. He humiliates them. So two meanings, يُهْلِكُهُمْ as well as يُخْزِيَهُمْ. Now, 280, أَكْمَهُنْ. It should be أَكْمَهُ. أَكْمَهُ. It should be أَكْمَهُ and not أَكْمَهُنْ without, it should be without tanween because it's ممنوع من الصرف, because it's on a وزن الفعل. وزن الفعل as well as وصفية. So أكمه هو الذي ولد أعمى, it's the person that was born blind. أكمه is the person that was born blind. It's different from يعني أعمى. Okay? أعمى, person أعمى, he was blind, but it doesn't mean that he was born blind. أكمه means that person was born that way. Okay, and this comes in Surah Al-Ali Imran, speaking about some of the miracles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Isa alayhi salam. He said, and I cure the blind. Okay, and I cure the blind. I give them their eyesight back, bi-idhnillah, of course, by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. واضح? طيب. He says, كان على نوعين, mashallah. كان على نوعين. The verb kana is a verb. It's two types of kana. The first type of kana is what we call tamah. Kana tamah. And kana tamah is the verb, is kana that takes a fa'il. It takes a fa'il and it makes the fa'il marfu', as he mentions. Okay, he says tamatun bima'na hadara, to be present, or hadatha, for something to occur, or waqa'a, for something to happen or occur. وهي ترفع الفاعل. And this is the kana that makes the fa'il marfu', just like any other verb. This is what we call tama. Is that clear? We're going to speak about this more in Ajrumiyah. Okay, for example, this comes in Surah Al-Baqarah this way. Kana, Surah Al-Baqarah. I don't have the ayat, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, talking about if you give a debt to, if you give some money to someone, right, and they owe you money, what should you do? And they having difficult paying it back. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَإِن كَانَ ذُو عُسْرَةٍ فَنَظِرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. This is recited in Abu Ja'far. And if the person, وَإِن كَانَ ذُو عُسْرَةٍ, and if the person is someone who's in a difficulty, okay, ذو هذا فاعل مرفوع بالواو نيابة عن الضمة لأنه من الأسماء الستة. نعم وهو مضاف. The نظرة إلى ميسرة, and pay it, and give them some respite, give them some time, delay it for them to pay it. Is that clear? So in that specific ayah, ذو is fa'il. ذو is fa'il for كان. Now, he says وَنَاقِصَةٌ. فِعْلُ نَاقِصَةٌ is, again, we're going to learn it Ajrumiyah, is the fi'l, he's going to mention it right here. وَهِيَ تَرْفَعُ الْإِسْمَ وَتَنْصِبُ الْخَبَرِ. It's going to make the ism, which was originally the mubtada, it's going to make it marfu', it's going to keep it marfu', and it's going to be known as the ism of kana, and it's going to make the khabar, which was the khabar al-mubtada, is going to be now known as khabar al-kana, is going to be mansub. So instead of saying, right, Allahu Rabbuna, it's now Kana Allahu Rabbana. Fahmta? For example.
You just repeat that one more time, akhi.
Now, I'll give another example. Kana Zaydun, instead of saying Zaydun qa'imun, right? Zaydun qa'imun. We do kana now, kana naqisa, it's going to now make it Kana Zaydun qa'iman. Fahmta?
Naam.
Okay. And it means here, the default meaning of kana naqisa is that for something to happen in the past, like was, okay? It was. This thing happened in the past. He says, وَتَقْتَدِي ثُبُوتَ الْخَبَرِ لِلْمُخْبَرِ عَنْهُ فِي زَمَانِهَا. What it says is that it necessitates that the khabar, affirming the khabar, meaning that thing did happen for the mukhbari an. The mukhbari an is the mubtada. That's known as the mubtada. Fi zamaniha, yani in a past tense, in this time frame, which will be the past tense. Meaning that thing did happen, but it happened in the past. Clear? Put a Y sometimes too, so I know it's new, okay? Now this is another beneficial meaning of it though. He says, وَقَدْ تَأْتِي بِمَعْنَى الدَّوَامِ. And it's possible, however, it's possible that it can come with the meaning of dawam, ongoing, always. This is perpetually like that. Is that clear? Like it's always like this. And for example, fi mathali or fi mithli, for such an example is like Allah's statement, وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. And Allah was, and Allah is, and Allah always will be all forgiving, merciful to the believers. Is that clear? So it's always like this. Now, or for example, وَكَانَ رَبُّكَ قَدِيرًا. And your Lord was and is and always will be qadira, able to do all things. وَشِبْهُ ذَلِكَ, and things are similar to that. Is that clear? As the author mentions, وَهُوَ كَثِيرٌ فِي الْقُرْآنِ, and this happens abundantly in the Quran. وَمَعْنَاهُ, and its meaning is, what does it mean? لَمْ يَزَلْ وَلَا يَزَالُ مَوْصُوفًا بِذَلِكَ الْوَصْفِ. He is not stopped, okay, and he's still continuing on having this characteristic, being described with this characteristic of maghfirah, rahmah, qudra, to the end of it. Now, كأن. كأن, this is a harf. He says معناها التشبيه. كأن is one of the sisters of inna. It's from inna wa khawatuha. Okay? And it points to tashbih. Tashbih is making a comparison between two things. Okay? Making a comparison with two things. And also, some of the people now mentioned that it's also for yani ta'keed, because it comes with anna. Okay? But so for example, Surah Al-Qamar, ayat 20, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions تنزع الناس كأنهم أعجاز نخل منقعر. Okay? كأنهم أعجاز نخل. فهمت? Ayat 20. Now, so Ka'anna is one of the sisters of Inna. And again, this is we learned in classes of Nahu. K. This is from the Nawasib, the 10 Nawasib, the huruf that make the fi'l mudari mansub. And K means in order to, okay? Showing you the reasoning behind something. He says, معناها التعليل. A ta'leel again is showing you the reasoning for something, showing you the illah. What's the reasoning behind something? Okay? Such as in Surah Al-Hashr, ayah 7. كي لا يكون دولة. Okay? كي لا يكون دولة. Surah Al-Hashr, ayah 7. طيب. كم generally means how many, okay, or how much. However, it's two usages. We're going to learn them. He says معناها تكثير. The meaning of kem is to show that something happen in abundance. Okay? In abundance. وهي خبرية واستفهامية. These are the two ways that kem can come. The first way is khabariya, meaning Allah or the person is or someone is using it. Right here, we're talking about the Quran, though. So when it's used by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, Allah is saying, He's not asking like, yo, how much. He's saying it in a way that it's a question, but it's understanding He's saying it. For example, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala mentions, "Kam taraku min jannatin wa uyun." Like, how many did they leave? How much did they leave from gardens and springs? Like Allah is saying that they left a lot of it, abundant. They had a lot of gardens and springs. You understand? Talking about the people of Fir'aun. Allah destroyed them. You understand that? What I mean by that?
Now, so Allah is not using it. Obviously, He knows how much they left, but He's using it as a form of questioning.
No,
Or
it's
no.
not. So khabariya is you're informing. You're informing and saying that this thing happened a lot. Okay?
No, mad.
It's not a question. The next part is a question. I'm gonna give you another example for the question. But khabariya, when chemists uses the khabariya, is showing, is stating it, is saying like, for example, maybe find that y'all. Like for example, it could be like this. For example, if I ask you in English, right? Like, I'm looking at all your sneaker collection. I'm like, how many sneakers you got? You understand?
No,
You got a lot. I'm saying like, yeah, you got a lot of sneakers. You understand?
no.
You understand what I'm saying? Or
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
for example, like I'm saying like, yo, how many you got? But I'm looking at it right now, like I know you got a lot of sneakers, yo.
No, mad.
Now, what's Tifhamiyya is the question. So like I'm asking you like how we have, you know, how many? Kim hadha. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Kim ataynahumu min ayatin bayyina. How many clear signs that we give them? Right? This is a question. Sal Bani Israel. Ask Bani Israel. Ask the children of Israel. Kim ataynahumu min ayatin bayyina. How many clear signs that we give them? You understand? That's a question. Ask them because Allah says sell. Ask them. But also it's showing you takfir. Like we gave them a lot of signs. Is that clear?
No.
طيب, inshallah. Now this next harf 285 is كأين. كأين, or is it Abu Jafar? وكاين. Okay, that's how we recite it. بمعنى kem. Okay, kem. He says it comes with the same meaning as kem. However, kem here is talking about kem al-khabariyya, not kem al-istifhamiyya. Is that clear? Kem huna is talking about kem al-khabariyya. The kem that shows that it's not a question being asked. Allah is informing and saying that this is the case. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Surah Ali Imran. وَكَايٍ مِّن نَبِيٍّ قَاتَلَ مَعَهُ. And how many messengers fought with him? How many from amongst the messengers? وَكَايٍ مِّن نَبِيٍّ قَاتَلَ مَعَهُ رِبِّيُّونَ. I should have finished that. رِبِّيُّونَ. Okay? How many Ribbiyun fought with a prophet? They fought with him. كأين هنا كم الخبرية بمعنى كم الخبرية. Allah is not, it's not a question. Allah is saying there was a lot of them. فهمت؟ نعم. وهي عند سيبويه, and it's according to Imam Sibawayh, the great grammarian scholar, probably one of the most knowledgeable, if not, right, the Bukhari of Nahwu. Okay? According to him, he says, كاف التشبيه دخلت عليه أي. It comes with the meaning of kaf tashbih, like we mentioned. No, we didn't mention. Kaf tashbih is the kaf to make a comparison with something, like, right? كوردة يعني زيد كالأسد, for example. Zayd is like a lion. Okay. However, a is entered on it, came on it as well. مفهوم؟ طيب. كلا. كلا, he says حرف ردع والشجر والزجر. الله أكبر. I can't read that. والزجر. كلا حرف ردع وزجر. He says كلا has two meanings. Kella has three meanings. He's going to mention the third meaning though. Based, he says waqila. Kella ibn Hisham al-Ansari mentioned in his book Qawaid al-I'rab. Kella has three meanings. The first meaning is what he mentioned, radi'in. Okay. Another meaning of Kella is tasdiq. حرف التصديق. نعم. ولفظ كلا حرف ردع اشتهر وحرف تصديق ككلا والقمر. نعم. So كلا, just add another meaning to here is بمعنى تصديق, حرف التصديق. Okay. But he says كلا حرف ردع. ردع is to like reject something. Okay. ردع وزجر is to like reject something. Okay. Like this is not the case. Like انتهى بهذا. Stop it. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Fajr, ayah 16, talking about the situation of mankind, that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us with something or blesses certain people with things, the person says, my Lord has honored me. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restricts that person's provisions, person falls down on possibly hard times, he says, Rabbi ahanani, my Lord has humiliated me. And right after, Allah says, Kalla, like stop it. Intah, like stop it. Another example, Surah Al-Mu'minun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the situation of some people at the time of death. They're going to wish, they're going to hope that they could be returned back to the dunya so that they can do good deeds. They can leave off some of the things that they used to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, لَعَلِّي أَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا فِي مَا تَرَكْتُ. He's going to say, so perhaps that I'll be able to do some of the good deeds that I left off. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, كَلَّا, stop it. إِنَّهَا كَلِمَةٌ هُوَ قَائِلُهَا. It's just words that you're saying. It's just kalam. فهمت؟ Now, he says, وَقِيلَ, قِيلَ, and it's said. He uses qila a lot of times in his book. And a lot of times when he uses qila is usually, it's said, it may not be the strongest position to him. Okay? He says, وَقِيلَ, it said, إِنَّهَا تَكُونُ لِلنَّفْيِ. Rather, it comes for as a negation to something. As a negation to something. Meaning, لَيْسَ الْأَمْرُ كَمَا ظَنَنْتَ. The situation is not as you claim or as you think. You understand? لَيْسَ الْأَمْرُ كَمَا ظَنَنْتَ. The situation is not as you think. Right? Rabbi ahanani. My Lord has humiliated me. يعني كلا. يعني ليس الأمر كما ظننت. It's not as you think. فَلَا تُكْرِمُونَ الْيَتِيمِ. Rather, you don't honor the orphans. Now, he says, وَقِيلَ إِنَّهَا, another meaning of كلا, وَقِيلَ إِنَّهَا إِسْتِفْتَاحُ كَلَامِ بِمَعْنَى أَلَا. بِمَعْنَى أَلَا. Meaning that كلا in certain ayat, specifically the last ayat in Surah Al-Alaq. Specifically, the last ayat in Surah Al-Alaq is said that كلا here, it doesn't mean rada'in or sajr, like stop it. It's not like you think. But rather, it comes with the meaning of ala. Ala. And as we mentioned previously, ala, with all of its different meanings, is used for istiftah. Is used sometimes to mention in the beginning of a statement. Sometimes like when you want to emphasize something, you want to bring somebody's attention to something like tanbih, you want to bring their attention, like ala inna awliya Allahi la khawfun alayhim wa lahum yahzanun, right? Ala inna awliya Allah. No, surely the awliya of Allah, there's going to be no fear or no grief upon them. Or in the hadith of, such in the hadith of Abu Abdullah, Nu'man ibn Bashir, the Prophet mentioned at the end of the hadith, when he mentioned the two different types of flesh in a person's body, he says, Allah wa hiya al-qalb. Is it anything but the heart? You understand? Allah here. Fahmta? Now, so in that specific ayah, Surah Al-Alaq, ayah 19, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, says, كَلَّا لَا تُطِعْهُ وَاسْجُدْ وَاقْتَرِبْ. كَلَّا. It said that the meaning is, أَلَا لَا تُطِعْهُ وَاسْجُدْ وَاقْتَرِبْ. Like it's bringing, يعني حرف استفتاح. Means, لَا تُطِعْهُ, don't obey him. وَاسْجُدْ, keep on prostrating. وَاقْتَرِبْ, keep on getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fahmt? Now, he says, lastly, 287, al-Kaaf. Al-Kaaf, alhamdulillah, he mentions like 3 meanings we could say. بمعنى أول, يعني بمعنى تشبيه, to make a comparison between two things. Tashbih is making a comparison, and it's one of these subjects spoken about in ilm al-bayan. Ilm al-bayan is one of the 3 subsciences of ilm al-balagh. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ. وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَالْعِهْنِ. Right? And the mountains will be like al-'ihn. Al-'ihn, believe, top of my head, like some type of wool. Okay, some type of wool. فهمت? No. وبمعنى التعليل. This is a beneficial meaning here, walhamdulillah. Or can meaning, يعني, to show the reasoning behind something. Ta'leel means to show the reasoning behind something. So it's not comparing something. It's coming to show you the reasoning behind something. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 197. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, actually after completing such rituals in the Hajj, certain rituals, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَاذْكُرُوهُ كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ. وَاذْكُرُوهُ, and remember him, كَمَا هَدَاكُمْ. بمعنى وَاذْكُرُوهُ لِأَجْلِ هَدَاكُمْ. And remember him because of him guiding you. Because of your guide, because of him guiding you. You understand? Muhammad, you got that? Now, وَقِيلَ, it's also said, إِنَّهَا تَكُونُ زَائِدَةً. It comes as harf za'ida. Harf za'ida, I'm not sure if I ever mentioned it before. In the books of tafsir, okay? When it's nothing's extra in the Quran. Nothing's extra in the Quran. Meaning that this thing is just here. It doesn't have a meaning behind it. No, rather, whenever you read in the books of tafsir, and it says this harf za'ida, or another term is more proper to use a harf sila. As-sila. Sad, lam, ta marbuta. Harf sila. That means يعني harf mu'akkid. Come for tawkid, ta'kid. As Ibn Hisham al-Ansari mentioned. Nazawawi put in a poem, he says, وَإِنَّمَا الزَّائِدُ مَا دَلَّ عَلَى وَإِنَّمَا الزَّائِدُ مَا دَلَّ عَلَى مُجَرِّدِ التَّوْكِيدِ لَمَا أُهْمِلَ. The only intended meaning of when you see za'ida in the books of tafsir is يعني mu'akkid, tawkid, comes to emphasize something. Okay? And this is mentioned in such ayats, like for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. Right? لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. There's nothing like him, and he is the all-hearing, all-seeing. Some of the mufassirun, they say that kaf here is يعني الزائدة بمعنى مؤكد. Comes for tawkid. فهمتم؟ طيب. حرف اللام. Oh, we could get another page, huh? We get another page, inshallah. طيب. حرف اللام. لبس. He says, 288. لبس الأمر. لبس الأمر أي خلطه. لبس الأمر, to mix something up. خلطه. He mixed it up. Okay? بفتح الباء في الماضي وتفتح الباء وكسرها في المستقبل. And a kasra on the ba في المستقبل. What does he mean by مستقبل? أي الماضي المضارع. المضارع on the فعل المضارع. So it's فعل يفعل لبس يلبس. فهمت؟ So المستقبل هنا بمعنى المضارع. Now, this is where it gets مفيد. He says ولبس الثوب. لبس الثوب بالكسر في الماضي, right? والفتح في المستقبل. This one is لبس يلبس. Comes with a different meaning though, right? لبس is not لبس. لبس الأمر أي خلطه. لبس الثوب يعني to put something on. كساه يعني كساه. فهمت? To put a thobe on, to put your clothes on. Okay? The first example, لبس الأمر. For example, Allah mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 41, وَلَا تَلْبِسُ الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. And don't mix the truth with falsehood. فهمتم? وَلَا تَلْبِسُ الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Don't mix the truth with falsehood. Example of لبس الثوب. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Nahl, ayah, what's that? 14. Speaking about the different things that we extract from the sea. He says, منه حلية تلبسونها. From it is hilya, is jewelry. تلبسونها, you wear it. You all wear it. Right? Different pearls and shells and things that we extract from the sea. تلبسونها, you wear it. فهمتم? Now, he says, الباب. الباب بمعنى عقول. الباب بمعنى عقول, intellects. Intellects. And as a benefit, Sheikh Muhammad Mahmoud al-Shinqiti, further I'll give it after. He says عقول بمعنى intellects. وهو جمع لب. هو جمع لب. It's the plural of the word lub. Lub is the intellect, okay? It's the core of something, the essence of something, the brain of something. Now, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Ali Imran, one of the places, right? وَمَا يَذَّكَّرُ إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Okay? And no one reflects on these things. No one reflects. No one contemplates on these. إِلَّا أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Those people, those who possess an intellect. Those who possess intellect. فهمتم? Sheikh Muhammad Mahmoud al-Shanqiti, when he was mentioning this specific word, he mentioned a benefit. He says there's no other word, there's no word that comes in the Quran only by his jama', only by his jama', except al-bab, meaning that the singular is not mentioned in the Quran. Fahimtum? Mention a line of poetry that ما كلمة لم تأتي في الكتاب إلا بجمع يا أولي الألباب. Now, it's no word that's come in the book, in the Quran, only by the plural form, except this word, al-bab. In that same usage, ya ulil al-bab. He says, labita fil makani aqama fi. Labita from labita yalbathu, because it's fa'ila yaf'alu, right? وافتح موضع الكسر في المبني من فاعل. لبث في المكان أقام فيه, to stay in a place, to stay at a place. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, right? Surah Al-Baqarah, from amongst his places, قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم. Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 258, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrected that person, he brought him back to life, right? He was asked, how long did you stay? How long did you stay here? He said, قال لبثت يوما أو بعض يوم. He said, I stayed here a day or a part of a day. Now, لمز يلمز. لمز يلمز. لمز يلمز. أي عاب الشيء. To find fault with something. لمز يلمز means to find fault with something. Okay? I believe the scholars of tafsir, they mention that's a specific type of عاب الشيء. To find fault with something in a specific type of way. Now, some of the people at tafsir, they mention that this is like you finding fault with something by like a look in your face. Okay, I'm sorry. يعني الغماز بالوجه بكلام خفي. Now, making a specific look in the face. You understand? You finding fault with something. You know how people find fault with something in the face, like with their eyes when they're looking at something or scrunching up their face or something like that. Now, that's one of the specific meanings of this word. لمز يلمز. But it means to find fault with something, to find blame with something. And this is, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, وَلَا تَلْمِزُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, right? Surah al-Hujurat, right? Don't find fault with one another. Don't criticize and blame one another. Femtum? Don't find any Ghareeb or Yub. Don't look for Uyub in people. طيب. لؤلؤ 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 Abu Jafar لؤلؤ Johar. Okay? Lu'lu is a pearl. Is a pearl. Johar is what do you call those things? Not minerals, but called like a diamond. What is that? A specific name for a diamond? Like a word that not sapphire. Joe, I'm trying to it's things that you classify those type of things as. Basically, Lutlu is a pearl. You know? Yeah, I guess jewelry. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Ar-Rahman, ayah 20. يخرج منهما اللؤلؤ والمرجان. Okay? Extracted from the both of them, from the both of those two seeds are pearls and corals, corals, Corals. فهمتم? Now, 293, Mufid Jiddan is beneficial. Whenever he mentions different meanings, like two or three meanings for something, it's very profound because it really opens up our understanding. For lagwu, he says lagwul kalami. Lagwul kalami. Lagwul kalami mudaf mudaf ilayh. It has two meanings. Al-batilu minhu, yani false speech, incorrect speech, could be lies. Wal-fuhsh, in evil, disgusting talk, obscene talk, lewd talk, inappropriate speech. Fahimtum? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Surah An-Naba, لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا what? I got كذابة. I don't remember it saying. Is that لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابة? Is that correct?
Naam,
That's what I wrote.
Surah Naba, I think, Naam.
All right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, Surah Naba, I believe.
Okay, it doesn't sound right when I read it, but okay. نعم سورة النبأ لا يسمعون فيها لغوا يعني لا يسمعون فيها لغوا من الكلام الباطل منه والفحش منه, right? False talk as well as inappropriate lewd talk, obscene and disgusting talk. فهمتم? Right? In Surah Al-Mu'minun, some of the was it قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون. And those people, with regards to laghu, they turn away from it. أي الباطل والفحش. فهمتم? Lies and فهمتم? Surah Al-Mu'minun, in the beginning of Surah Al-Mu'minun. He says, وَاللَّغْوُ الْيَمِينِ لَغْوُ الْيَمِينِ لَغْوُ الْيَمِينِ أي ما لا يلزم. لغو اليمين is a specific type of oath. It's like an unintentional oath. And this unintentional oath does not stick. Okay? You don't have to make kafara for it. Okay? A laghu is an unintentional oath. The person did not intend that to be an oath. For example, people say a lot of times, wallahi, they're not making an oath. In a sense, just like they're just talking. Fahimtum? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, Surah Al-Ma'idah, other places, Surah Al-Baqarah, لا يواخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم. Allah does not hold you to account باللغو, okay, for the unintentional oaths that you make. No? No. لها لها بفتح الهاء. What's the mudari for لها based on what you see? He says لها with a فتح on the ha. What's the mudari? Oh, subhanAllah, he puts it right there. Keep going. Again, he says لها بفتح الهاء من اللهو ومضارعه يلهو. هذا من لها يلهو. من اللهو. اللهو is distraction. Distraction. لها, to be distracted. لهوت عن العلم. Right? I was distracted from knowledge. فهمتم? It's mudari is yalhu. And the reason why we know we didn't have him saying it We will know it's laha yalhu because the alif is written mamduda and not maqsura. فهمتم? The alif is written out long, like da'a, raja. So that's ajwa, that's naqis wawi. Laha yalhu, da'a yad'u, raja yarju. And also we would know by just the mustar. The mustar exposes the root letter. It's lahu. طيب. It comes in surah to number of surahs, but طيب. Surah al-Jumu'ah in the mastar form. قُلْ مَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Say, that which is with Allah is better than lahu, being distracted from distractions. Okay? Right? Or, طيب. Mm, طيب. أنتم معي؟ طيب. He says, لَهِيَ عَنِ الشَّيْءِ بالكسر والياء والياء بالكسر والياء يلهى. So it's from فاعل يفعل. لاهية يلهى بالفتح إذا أعرض عنه, when it turn away from something. لاهية عن الشيء بمعنى أعرض عنه, to turn away from something. Okay? Trying to think of a specific ayah with this meaning. I didn't write one down. طيب. He says وألهاه وألهاه الشيء وألهاه الشيء إذا أشغله, to distract something, okay, to make something preoccupied with something else, okay, to busy someone with something else. فهمتم? So it's not no more lazim now, it's now muta'addi. He made him distracted. He busied him from it. The thing busied him, distracted him. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Munafiqun, لا تلهكم أموالكم. Don't let your wealth, right? وَأَوْلَادُكُمْ, and your children distract you. عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, from the remembrance of Allah. Okay? Or in Surah At-Takathur, أَلْهَاكُمُ التَّكَاثُرُ. Okay? Competing with one another in gathering money and having the most children has distracted you. Fahimtum? Now, he says, Latifun. Latifun ismullahi ta'ala. Latif is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It has two meanings. He says, قِيلَ مَعْنَاهُ رَفِيقٌ. It said that from amongst the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, Latif, bima'na Rafiq, the gentle one, the one who is gentle, extremely gentle, always gentle. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Shura, ayah 19, Allahu latifun bi'ibadi. Allah is gentle. Allah is kind with his servants. Fahimtum? That's one meaning of Latif. Another meaning of Latif, وقيل خبير بخفيات الأمور. خبير بخفيات, should be a كسر on the kha. If I'm not mistaken, from I heard the Sheikh Musa Dakhila recited like this. خبير بخفيات الأمور. Okay? The one who is well aware of all hidden and all subtle affairs. Okay? Like the meticulous one, Allah's Latif. Allah is the meticulous one. He knows everything, well aware of everything. Knows the details and the subtleties of everything. Fahimtum? As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Mulk, right? 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 ألا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير. Right? ألا يعلم من خلق. Wouldn't he know who he creates? Right? Or wouldn't the one who created know? لا يعلم من خلق وهو اللطيف الخبير. He is al-Khatif. I'm sorry, al-Latif, al-Khabir. فهمتم؟ طيب. Let's stop here because I have to get ready to go to work, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah. Any questions?
Just on your last verse quickly, to you mentioned whole اللطيف الخبير, or that last meaning, does that emphasize the meaning you mentioned, the last part of Latif, which I think you said he knows the details of everything. So that last part of the verse kind of does that emphasize that meaning?
أنا لا أريد أن أكلم بغير علم. I don't want to speak about knowledge. I have something in my head, in my heart, but I don't want to say it.
Because it's almost as if like it's emphasizing that because it says
Sure.
Khabirun Latif.
One of the ways in the Arabic language is by emphasizing something is repeating something. Like if I say Allah, Allahu Rabbi, la ushriku bihi shay, right? Allah, Allah is my Lord. Or for example, Ta'al, Ta'al, come, right? Ijlis, Ijlis, sit, right? Another way of tawkid, this type of tawkid is called tawkid al-lafzi, okay? Is when you mention a word, right? You're repeating it, but they got the same meaning. Like if I say Ijlis Urqud, you understand?
Mm.
Or Ta'al Aqbil, you understand? They both got similar meanings, and they're repeating it. So Wallahu alam. I hope you understood what I just said.
Barakallahu feek.
Speak about it. Any other questions?
No, no questions from me. Okay.
Okay. بارك الله فيكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.